The 2022 HQ Racing New South Wales Championship is proudly brought to you by Osborne's Transport. Opening round of the Osborne's Transport HQ Holden Championship here at Wakefield Park. We caught up down in the pits with John Baxter, who's taken the first pole position for the season.
Oh mate, I'm wrapped. It's been a long time since I've got a pole position without being in Fred Osborne's car, so I'm glad that everything we've tried in the off-season's worked, so it's good. The conditions were a bit slippery when we first went out. I had a bit of a moment the first lap, and I finally got my act together towards the end of the session. The track was getting drier, so it was heaps better.
Who's going to be the hard man to beat this weekend?
Oh, I think my teammate Matty Barker, he's going to be pretty competitive. Dave Allen's obviously he's got a lot of car, same as me, but you can't rule out the Mole boys either. So I reckon it's going to be a pretty good weekend of racing. Hopefully, I can just stay at the front and be easy.
Opening race for the opening round of the Osborne's Transport HQ Holden Championship at Wakefield Park, and we've got Dave Allen and John Baxter on the front row of the grid. You can just see a good field of cars coming down through turns 1 and 2. A few cars buried a little bit deeper in the field than we probably expected them to be after an interesting qualifying session. And we've got one sliding wide already on the run up the hill. That was Sean Boland. He's found the grass, but been able to bring the big HQ back on the track. We always see great racing from these guys, Gary, and no doubt 2022 is going to be no exception.
Well, we've already seen Matt Barker fall back from further in the field. And
Allen's off,
so there goes one of our front runners out of commission already, and we've just seen that.
See a replay here. What's going on as we come across the top, and just a little bit of touch from Parker. So just slight overlap between the two of them.
Yeah, that's just one of those things that happen.
Not intentional, but sometimes that happens in the early stages, as we see the 39 of Dave Proglio.
He started a fair way back as well, so we've got two what we think are towards the front. Even the Moles boy, Jason, and his brother, Chris, further back than what we would expect them to see. We did see John Baxter as our pole man, and even though he's been out of HQ Racing for a little while, he's certainly shown he has lost none of his talent. And well, as I say that,
looks like he's lost forward momentum though, as the car pulls to the inside from the lead of the race. So that's not what they wanted in the Osborne's Transport car. You can see a little bit of flame underneath it. That'll be fuel burning off out of the exhaust after you stop a hot race car sometimes. But unfortunately for him, he's going to take no further part in this race, and we'll have to see whether it brings out a yellow flag. It hasn't as yet, and Proglio is continuing his charge to the front. We go on board with Parker, and we can see here to the inside, there's Proglio just driving around him in the MHA Euro car. And just behind as well, you can see Matt Barker, there he is, putting pressure on Harrison. So Luke Harrison looking to have a good run. They've changed up the look of that car as well in the off-season. Tell you what, some of the presentation of vehicles in the HQ Holden Championship, absolutely second to none as the safety car comes out, no doubt for Baxter.
Well, green flag again, and at this stage Jason Mole leads the way, Glenn Deering in second, Chris Mole in third spot, and Proglio already up to fourth position. No doubt that safety car has helped him gather in the leading three, and you can see now Chris Mole putting all sorts of pressure on Deering as they come down through the fishhook, or the gurgler, or turn 8, whichever one you want to call it.
Of course, Deering, our 2021 champion, that's why he's got the big 1 on the door. Chris Mole looking to go to the inside here. You'd have to think through the final corner. He got that little bit of run. He's having a look, but he's not going to quite be close enough. You'd have to, a little bit of a slide for Deering in the mid-corner, and that's enabled Mole to be able to sneak past and get to at least his inside
maybe
door.
Not. It's always precarious running side by side through turn 1. And Deering, you would think, have to get out of this. Well, he's not going to.
He's going to try to hold it, isn't he?
But he won't in the
Big sideways moment from Mole out of turn 2, and that got him across the front of Deering at least. So.
And Proglio takes full advantage of it, gets up to the inside of Deering out of turn 3, and will chase Chris Mole across the top. And as he makes further progress, so he's going gangbusters at the moment.
Great racing from a lot of them as we take a look at Parker, and sneaking down the inside, Luke Harrison across the top. So we don't usually see the top of Wakefield Park being a position where you make moves, but all of a sudden we're now starting to see a couple of them be made up there. So that's an interesting change for the books.
see Harrison and Dice continuing down the straight. They moved across the cover himself after he made that move.
Look at this. Jackson right in there behind Parker, ready to try to see if he can pick up a position as well. And then just in behind them is Jack Harrison. Sorry, just trying to figure out which car it is with the change of liveries that they've got on the side. So Jack Harrison now in the Sydney Mini Creek car, trying to come across the top and make up the position as well. He's putting pressure on the tyre power car in front of him. But out in front, the two Command digital signage cars lead the way. Proglio in third. Deering has slipped back to fourth. And I think that's Barker trying to make a run on Deering as well. So Barker and Proglio have stormed through this field and to get themselves right in the front.
Barker's going to try and make a move on Proglio down at turn 1. He gets alongside him there. We go back to Harrison and 26 Parker, the next two through. And I think what we didn't see is that Barker may have made that move on Proglio.
Yep, and it looks like the 73 of Jack Harrison has been able to get past Nicholas Jackson as well, and following him through is Sean Boland in the 22. Oh, Sean Boland looked to the inside there in the Asset car, Asset Plumbing Solutions, but not quite able to make the move. And now he sits in behind as well. We see a little bit of a drop for Jared Harbour. He's dropped 2 wheels off at the fishhook as they come onto the back straight yet again. So everybody's swapping about here in this race. There's plenty of positional changes going on.
Yeah, and the Dices, look at it. We've got 4 out in front, 5 out in front, and here's Proglio. Now Proglio must have held onto that spot, and he's now making a move on Chris Mole down at turn 2. And if he gets alongside here, he will have the run up into turn 3, which he does. So Proglio goes to second position, splits the 2 Mole boys.
You see the way the car slid through turn 3 though. He was right on the limit of what he could do. He managed to get across in front of Chris Mole, and now he's got to try to get eyes forward to go and attack Jason. Well, Barker has bought into this one now as well.
Yeah, Deering was the one that we've seen Barker make the move on earlier, which we didn't quite catch the end of. So Deering's back in 5th spot now, and Proglio looking to go to the lead. Jason Mole on the outside there. He's in a bad position now for the run down the straight. They'll run side by side. I don't know how much side draft to get out of HQ Holden, but it appears he might just have enough, and we've got 2 by 2 going down into turn 1, and Proglio will get the lead from Jason Mole, and Barker will get the 3rd spot from Chris Mole.
That sideways moment will not have helped Jason Mole up the hill. No, it hasn't. Barker's been able to sneak past him, so Barker picks up 2 positions in effectively 4 corners here, and now sits in 2nd place in this race. What a drive from those 2 in front, Proglio and Barker, to come all the way through, past both Moles as well. Now, they are not easy cars to get past at the best of times, especially here at Wakefield Park with how strong they are.
Yeah, and Barker particularly, because he's fallen further back than his grid spot off the start. Yeah. We noted that going into turn 1 or 2 the first time, and now he's looking to try and win this race
as they come to the final corner.
And also you've got to be careful, because he's got the 2 Mole boys behind him who would like nothing better than to get those spots back.
Here we go, run to the flag. They're side by side. The checkered flag's out. Proglio and Barker, who gets it at the line, and Barker just gets there by 0.01 of a second over Proglio. Jason Mole, Chris Mole, Glenn Deering, Luke Harrison, Darren Parker, Sean Boland, Jack Harrison, and Nicholas Jackson rounding out your top 10. Actually, we caught up with Proglio down in the pits after the race.
Oh, it was a bit disappointing to get pipped right at the last second there, but we had a bad qualifying and come through from 10th, but old Matty Barker missed the start and he would drop back to 13th, so we both earned it, and I think he earned it a little bit more. It's a very competitive top 10. I mean, anyone can win from, I mean, there's 5-6 cars, you just don't know how they're going to turn up that day and who's going to be competitive or what. Not having to come through the back like I did yesterday, I think will help me probably keep the tyres a bit more under control, and hopefully we can just, me and Matty can take off and get away from the pack, and then fight it out at the end, and he can let me have a turn.
Well, race 2, they're lining up, and we heard that John Baxter's problem with his car, the quarter wire came off, so left him with nothing, and there looks like we've had a drama with Barker, the winner from last race, and he's actually gone to the back of the field. He actually stopped on the track for a moment or two and then got going and would queue up at the back of the grid. So here we are, we've got Jason Mole again going straight to the front, Dave Proglio in second, Chris Mole in third spot, and you can see it's a little bit slippery out there at the moment because of the wheel work from Jason Mole, and it's cost him the lead because Proglio's gone through and Chris Mole will take over from Jason Mole in second. Deering is the next one through. They're followed by one of the Harrison boys, and then I think it's Parker in the next position.
How is that for Jason Mole? He gets the launch, leads down into turn 1 and 2, and then by the run up the hill, because of how sideways he was on that greasy outside ripple strip, he's lost enough position to be sitting third at this point in the race. So they come around to complete the first lap. Proglio with a lead. Chris Mole, you can see sideways again, opposite lock as they come onto the back straight, and the rest of the field sitting in behind. So a good field of cars, and we no doubt will see plenty more action. It looks like Harrison's been able to get past Parker on the opening lap as well. So Parker's been relegated and is now just in front of the pack behind of that second group, as Allen looks to the inside and is able to pick up a position on Gordon McClay. Gordon McClay's going to get relegated here because Baxter is going to throw himself in there as well. So John Baxter back out there. They were able to fix up that car. Look at Allen sideways as he tries to drive it out of 2.
I'll just get out of the way, he thought, on that one initially. But it is fairly early in the day, and there is a bit of moisture on the track, but it's more so from probably the overnight dew than it is, or the overnight little bit of precipitation, rather than it raining at the moment, although he has got a wiper going. If it is raining, it's very, very light, and it isn't in all parts of the track at this stage. And here we've still got battles going on. There's Deering and the 2 Harrisons, so he's been ganged up on. We've got 2 Harrisons, 2 Moles, and they all like to have a bit of a go.
Here we go. So Luke Harrison just managed to make a move. Oh, here we go, door to door on the run up the hill. Luke Harrison trying the long way around here on Deering. He's touched the grass though. The car's sideways. Will there be contact? He slides through the middle. Jack Harrison pulling it up to not make contact with Luke there, but that's going to drop him a long way down the field. And as they come through the fish hook, look at that. Jack Harrison now also off the road. He does a little bit of grass exchange. So both the Harrisons dropping a few bits of positions there. Deering lucky not to be caught up in it.
And there goes, I think that's Parker going around the outside of him there as they head down towards, no, that was Baxter. 2 cars look very similar.
Exactly the same livery on the side of them, so
yeah,
be forgiven for mixing the 2 of them up, as now Baxter and Allen go side by side down the main straight. So Baxter's made a pretty reasonable charge here from the rear of the field to work his way through. You can see there Dave Allen in the number 12 DJA mechanical car. And rotating in front of them is the 73 of Jack Harrison. Lucky not to be collected by anybody there. He'll pop a gear and get going. So both the Harrisons unfortunately having rotations in this race. I think he just got onto that greasy ripple strip on the outside. Was trying to be a little bit harder on the throttle to catch that group in front of him.
Jason Mole's
just rotating.
Car we're looking at the moment, and he chases Proglio, and
Chris Mole's now done almost the same as what Jack Harrison did. Let's see from the onboard here. Just gets on the greasy ripple strip on the outside, tried to kick the pedal into it. Luckily for him though, he was able to run it through the grass and get a little bit of grip.
Dave Allen and Glenn Deering, and there's Darren Parker up ahead of them, finding his way off the track.
So that's 3 cars we've seen had problems in the exact same position. Parker stalled on the track though, and that brought out a safety car. And
the irony was that by the time the safety car got out there, he'd got going again. So. But they still had that safety car. There's Luke Harrison down the inside of Jared Harbour, and that's on his way, making his way back up the field. In the meantime, there's Deering and the 44 of Nick Jackson, and of course right behind them is Barker.
Barker continuing this charge through. Now, he's got himself in front of Baxter here, so... Oh no, now he's behind Baxter as they come into that corner. Look at that. They're trying to go 4 wide in the final corner. Here we go onto the back straight. Deering's the one in the middle. Baxter gives a little bit of room. Barker's decided Baxter is the one he wants to follow. And Jackson gets left on his own up against the pit wall.
There's a bit of drafting going on there, a bit of push. And the 2 Osborne Transports HQs get through. Two in one shot.
That was absolutely brilliant to see down the main straight. Mole has had...
That's Chris Mole again,
he's
having
caught the ripple strip. And now he's down on the grass, down on the run off the hill, so that's going to drop him a few positions. And he pops back out right in the middle of this battle that we've seen. So Barker and Baxter given an easy opportunity. Harrison is going to look to his outside now. Mole's going to try to hold on because he knows he should be up inside the top 3. But look at this now, he's going to have all sorts of drums because look at all those cars lining up behind him to have a shot. Once you find yourself in the pack, you start tripping over cars, you start slowing down, you fall into other battles. Harrison now to the inside. He's going to get that position you have to hit.
And Harrison does. Gets past Chris Mole going into turn 2. So while one Mole is in a bit of drama, the other one is out in front and doing it nicely.
You see down the main straight, Barker to the inside of Allen. Baxter's going to try to follow him through. They're also trying to work on Sean Boland here and see what they can do. Look at that, pulls to the inside. So the two Osborne's transport cars working together line astern to drive their way through this field in these greasy conditions. And Barker gets past Boland on the run through turn 3. We'll have to see when Baxter gets through.
Yeah, and I think what happened there as well, Proglio got in front of Jason Mole, so there was a change in the front running order there, which we didn't get. But here we go as Jason Mole tries to get this spot back and does so.
Good move from
Does
Mole.
it fairly easily, really.
I think probably he's looking to switch back. We see a replay here on board with Mole. Pulls to the inside. Yeah, hard on the brakes, gets himself past, but good positional change there between those two. But just flashing through the back of shot is Barker. He's been able to close the gap to these guys. We saw him pinch the win in race 1 after coming halfway through the field. He's decided in race 2 he wants to make it even harder for himself. Started from the rear, now he's sitting in 3rd place, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything because Jason Mole is going to get to take his first HQ Holden victory here at a very greasy Wakefield Park, and he is ecstatic.
He is very happy. Dave Proglio in 2nd, Barker in 3rd, then Sean Boland in 4th, Dave Allen, John Baxter up to 6th position from the back, Luke Harrison, Chris Mole after all these dramas in position 8, and then Nick Jackson is in 9th spot.
Final race of the weekend for the Osborne's Transport New South Wales HQ Holden Championship here at Wakefield Park. And we've got a dry circuit for this final race. Getting back out there after the dramas in race 2 is Parker. You could just see him starting in the rear of the field. Our 2 leaders though, but Proglio and Mole going door to door down through turn 1. They're still door to door up the hill. A little bit of a bump between the pair of them. Good aware racing though. And Mole's going to try to hang around the outside. It's not going to work for him. And Proglio is able to just get there. Look at the sideways though. He's pushed very, very hard into turn 3.
And these two have got a bit of a gap on the 3rd place car at the moment and continuing their battle that's sort of raged since the start of race 1 really. Here's Baxter coming through turn 8. 22 right behind him.
Yeah, Sean Boland in the Asset Plumbing Solutions car trying to make a run. It didn't quite work for him, and he's going to fall into the clutches of Luke Harrison behind as the rest of this field comes over the hill, and you can just see car after car after car in the HQ Holden's. A brilliant field here this weekend, immaculately presented cars. They're going to be heading to Bathurst this year as a support category at the 6 hour, and that's going to be very interesting to see. Hopefully they get a big field of cars there for that one.
Interesting that we did see that Barker had a drama at the start of race 2 where he started off the back of the grid. Car was jammed in 1st gear, so he stopped for a moment and then got it going, and unfortunately most of the grid was up and running and up on the grid, so he had to start from the back.
Run down the straight yet again. Mole look to the inside of Proglio. He's been able to sit there. This should be able to give him the lead of the race as they come down through turn 2. Yes, it does. But just look at that. Barker snaps up the opportunity. He gets past Proglio. So Proglio is now relegated to 4th place in the race. There's a melee across the top. Cars going every direction to try to overtake each other. And you can see, Boland a little bit slidey on the run down the hill. Chris Mole sitting in behind it. I think it was Harrison who's managed to sneak past Boland. Yeah. They're still side by side though. Look at that. Brilliant racing from a lot of them. Now Harrison's going to try to switch back on Boland here, and I think he's going to be able to do it though. Boland's going to try to sit there in the 22 car.
He gets a better run out of turn 8 on taking the wider line, and you would think that would work, but it hasn't on this occasion, as we see Chris Mould, and actually Boland's lost another spot.
Yeah, that's Allen who's managed to squeeze past him there as they come onto the straight. Oh, they've interlocked wheels and Allen's in the wall. Huge moment there on the main straight between Boland and Allen, and unfortunately we've got two bent cars. I think they probably just didn't quite know that each other was there. The safety car has come out and we've got a red flag situation on the track. The cars were pulled back into pit lane. You can see here they're returning to the track behind the Wakefield Park safety car. Harrison not able to get away, was able to eventually retake his position after a push start from a few guys in the pit lane.
So we've got a
HQ Racing.
We've got a 6-lap race now from the restart, and it started from a safety car, not from a grid setup. So it was just a situation of a resumption, really, with just a red flag in between. So
I think just to allow them to clean the track comfortably and clearly as they come down the hill now. So the leaders, it's going to be on here.
So we've got Jason Mole in front, Baxter in second, Barker in second, I should say, and Baxter in third. So we've got the two Osborne Transport cars running second and third, and I guess they'd be aiming to try and get a 1-2 result. Now they run 3 wide down the straight.
Here we go, 3 wide down the main straight here at Wakefield Park. There's not much more room for another HQ there. They're taking up almost the whole track, and it's Mole on the outside, the two Osborne's Transport cars to the inside through turn 1. Baxter is going to pinch the lead here from the pair of them. Great drive. Oh, a little bit of a touch between the two as Mole tries to drive back, and he's got a little bump from Barker as well.
I think he was getting squeezed off the track there. He didn't want him to take that spot.
Yeah.
And so we've got Baxter in front, Barker in second, and a small Coglio. And is that, just seeing who the next one is, Luke Harrison, followed by Chris Mole.
So Chris Mole will be wanting to get up the front there and help out Jason, you'd have to expect, and try to also take a 1-2 for the Command digital signage team. But unfortunately for him, he's just not quite got the pace to get past Luke Harrison and the rest, as we see the rest of this big field come through, and Deering slowing.
Yeah, Deering's
so unfortunately
not had the great start to trying to go 2 up in a title chase.
Gordon McClay and Jason Johnston going past him. There's Johnston to the inside of McClay, but I think McClay is also, yep, he is headed for the pit lane. So unfortunately, the end of the first weekend, probably a little bit more than some of the cars have been able to handle here at Wakefield Park. Of course, you find problems with cars once you start racing them. That's the only way to know. And you can do all the work you want off the off season, but until you put it on the racetrack, you won't know what you've got under you.
Barker going for an inside move on Baxter as they head down the straight. I think he's got it done. They're side by side across the finish line. And now Jason Mole tries to get in on the Act 2. Can he squeeze past Baxter out of turn 2? He's right up alongside him, but no, Baxter's going to hold on. He's going to squeeze him there. Bit of a touch up as they go across the top, and Mole gets the spot back. Harrison's the one who's buyed into this.
Harrison.
He's caught Proglio out. Proglio was probably thinking, what's going on ahead of me? And Chris Mole has got through as well.
How's Harrison pinching Proglio's pocket there down across the top of the hill, as now Baxter looks to the inside. Mole's moved him all the way across the road. Baxter on the very limit there. There was a little bit of a touch between the two of them. Mole is off on the dirt, and I don't think he's very happy with that one. No. There's a bit of a mid-corner touch there between the two, and as we come onto the last lap, you can see Chris Mole trying to push Jason back up there. They're all bump drafting. Jason having a look at Harrison. Harrison's been the big winner here. He's up into 3rd place in the race onto the final lap, so he's been able to pinch a couple of positions.
I think Barker's been the big winner out of this. He's bolted away,
isn't he? Look at the gap he's opened up.
Teammate Harrison and Mole there battling it for 2nd position. Now, will this is likely to change? We'll wait and see.
Fantastic racing from the Osborne's Transport HQ Holdens, of course. If you want to see them, check out HQ Racing New South Wales Facebook page and website for more information. They're going to be racing some pretty cool places this year, including up at Mount Panorama with a 55 car field. It will be something to see as Barker comes around the final corner onto the main straight to greet the checkered flag. He's going to take 2 race victories behind. It looks like Mole's going to be able to pinch Harrison at the line, and he does.
Close. He
gets
does.
there for
Mole
3rd place.
Third, Harrison 4th, Proglio in 5th, Chris Mole 6th, Jack Harrison, Nick Jackson, Mark Baxter and Darren Parker round out our 10.
So down in the pits, we caught up with Jason Mole, his first race victory for HQ Holden Racing on the weekend. It was great to have a chat with him in the pit lane.
Yeah, no, it's great to get a couple of thirds and a win for the weekend, but like you say, the safety car sort of didn't help us in one race. Helped me in one, but not the other. But I've actually got a fact that every race I've ever led so far, I've had a safety car in. So I'm hoping next time we're out here, I can change that. Yeah, after the restart, we just didn't quite get enough heat back in the tyres, I think, as we were cycling around. So yeah, unfortunately, I had a little bit of a lock up at the last corner, and it was just enough for Matty to get me. Two Osborne guys got up the inside, and yeah, it was what it was. I sort of had to settle for third, but after that, as you saw, there was a C-cell battle, and it was a fantastic race, and I think we ended up third overall, just in front of Luke Harrison. Mate, 3 wide at turn 1 around here is pretty hairy. I was on the outside where you don't want to be, out in the marbles, but no, the boys, the racing this weekend has been great. There's been a couple of small incidents, but for us, it's been an excellent weekend of racing, and credit to everybody here.
We hope you've enjoyed all the action from the Osborne's Transport HQ Holden Championship here on Blendline TV. Make sure to check out their website and Facebook page for more information about the season ahead. We look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, bye for now.